This is VOA News. I'm David Byrd in Washington. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says President Donald Trump is ready to sign a compromise funding package. But as AP's Sagar Meghani reports, Trump will then declare a national emergency to get the money he wants for a border wall with Mexico.
The president had said earlier he was reviewing the bill but did not promise to sign it. The White House and Senate GOP Chief Mitch McConnell now say he has made a decision.
The president will sign the bill
and take another step.
He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time.
And according to the White House, take other executive action to fulfill his promise to build a border wall. He's unhappy the border security package has just a sliver of the money he wanted for a wall. Executive action would let him divert money from other areas to build it without congressional sign-off, though both parties have argued against that. Sagar, Meghani, Washington.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, says President Trump's border emergency declaration is an attempt to run an end around Congress. AP's Tim McGuire has details.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says declaring a national emergency along the border with Mexico is an overreach by President Trump.
It's not an emergency, what's happening at the border. It's a humanitarian challenge to us.
She adds GOP members of Congress will rue the day if they back what she calls Trump's lawless act and abuse of presidential power.
The precedent that the president is setting here is something that should be met with great unease and dismay by the Republicans.
Pelosi can get a bill to overturn Trump's declaration through the House, and it could also pass the GOP-held Senate, though Trump is likely to veto it. Trump's move will certainly draw a court challenge. Tim McGuire, Washington.
For more on these stories and the rest of the day's news, be sure to log on to our website, voanews.com. This is VOA News. At least 44 paramilitary soldiers were killed Thursday in Indian Kashmir when a bomber rammed a vehicle loaded with explosives into a convoy. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The car bombing is thought to be the deadliest assault on security forces in Kashmir in 2 decades. Police say the attack occurred as a military convoy reached the outskirts of the disputed region's main city of Srinagar. 1 bus was destroyed and at least 5 other vehicles damaged by the blast. One official says he thinks the destroyed bus was carrying at least 35 soldiers. The Pakistan-based Islamist group Jaish-e-Mohammed has said it carried out the bombing. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The World Health Organization says that measles outbreaks and deaths are surging globally, putting years of progress made in reducing the killer disease at risk. Lisa Schlein reports from Geneva.
The WHO Director of Immunization, Vaccines and Biologicals, Catherine O'Brien, says progress is at risk because of the failure to vaccinate many children in all regions of the world.
Measles as a virus is one of the most contagious infections that there is. For every case of measles that occurs in a setting where people are not immune, 9 to 10 additional cases will occur simply because of exposure to that case.
The WHO says many children in poor countries are not being vaccinated because they live in marginalized areas where clinics are not easily reached. In wealthier countries, it says parents sometimes choose not to have their children immunized because of false claims that the vaccine is dangerous. Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
Online giant Amazon says it will not build a second headquarters in New York after all. AP correspondent Warren Levinson explains.
The stunning reversal came after Amazon conducted a year-long search for a second headquarters and decided to split the new facility between Virginia and Long Island City across the East River from Manhattan. But New York politicians pushed back after the deal was announced, saying the city was giving away too much in reduced taxes, which they contended the online retail behemoth was well able to pay. Amazon, which had planned to put 25,000 workers in the Queens campus, says it will not look for a substitute, but instead will expand its new offices in Arlington, Virginia, and Nashville, Tennessee. Warren Levinson, New York.
European aviation giant Airbus says it will end production of its super jumbo A380 jetliner in 2 years. The company announced the move Thursday after the Dubai-based Emirates Airlines announced it was cutting back on orders for the giant plane. Airbus had hoped that the double-decker planes, which can seat more than 500 passengers, would squeeze out Boeing's legendary 747. For more, visit our website, voanews.com. I'm David Byrd, VOA News.